on the troll.
Welcome and welcome again. It is that time where we have to talk about the case. We're hoping you're doing good. Allegedly, Gininda is done writing his exam. Allegedly. I'm saying allegedly. On purpose. Yeah, Emily, how are you doing?
I'm good, and you? How are you, Mr. Anonymous?
I'm sleepy, tired, exhausted. Yes, that's how I feel.
And fatigue, and it's also not helping with Brigadier Gininda's evidence. I know you think I complain too much, but hi, Mina, sing right.
All right.
I've reached my limit of I cannot stand this repetition, this saying stuff over and over again. I am tired of him.
Okay.
Not necessarily and fatigue, but I'm tired of him. I'm reaching that point. But I know that the defense is having fun. I could see Nisi was not in a hurry, by no means necessary, and he's just exploring all aspects, and he's taking his time, you know. It's just that for us, the listeners, the note takers, the analysts, it's kind of getting boring because he's saying one thing over and over and over and over again.
Again and again. Right. Yeah. They're saying Baloyi was heavily involved when it comes to this decision. When it comes to this case, Baloyi was Gininda at some point even sort of blamed everything to him, if you ask me, saying that it's not his decision, you know. So let us hear what is very interesting, Emily, before we indulge.
Yes.
The issue of initially Gininda saying they took the case to Baloyi and the group to look at it.
Yes.
And that's when they started seeing CAS 375. Yeah.
That's what he said.
What he missed to tell us there is that Baloyi had this case long time ago because he was making decisions
on who should be arrested.
Yes, and who should be approached, right?
Yes.
So was there a chance for 375 to make it if Baloyi was already calling the strings on 636?
Hell no.
So all that presentation of how 375, we remember when they were bashing 375.
I remember.
They were putting everything that they can put and the blame on Mabu Telezi
and Warrant
Officer Maku. Very, very interesting that they said when they went to submit CAS 636, that's when they heard about CAS 375. So there was, and I said at some point, I said maybe we are blaming a wrong person. Now that Gininda is mentioning it, maybe the role player here, the real person who's pulling the strings, it is not Gininda. As many of you might have thought, maybe alleging and all that. This to me is saying there's a bigger fish that we should be frying. Gininda is just the one that is available on the pond. But honestly speaking, a person who was pulling the strings here, I would leave that to you. Because that's a person who tells you, don't touch this one. Don't touch this one. And if you look at it, you know what I listened to today? I was laughing because I said they played Zande. I'm tempted to change into even not playing Zandi, perhaps it feels now like Zandi was throwing her sister under the bus, because Gininda kept on emphasizing how heavily was Zandi involved in discussion of this case. Heavily.
They were meeting constantly.
You know?
And she didn't have a lawyer as they were meeting.
Unlike the mother who came with the lawyer. Right? Yeah, now she didn't have a lawyer. So she was happy to avail herself and discuss and strategize on this case. That's what, to me, it sounds like.
I was saving my own skin. It's giving, I was throwing my sister literally to the wolves because I wanted to save myself. That's what it's giving, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I feel like also.
I'm saving myself.
You know, if Gininda can mention your name like that freely and then go further as to exclude you in knowing anything that could have happened that day. You know, it didn't just say you were heavily discussing the case. He just says after that, he realized later as they was doing investigation that you did not know anything, or you are not part and parcel of that. What is that saying?
She was exonerated, just like that. Removed as maybe a suspect. She was not even entertained. And she was regularly having meetings.
That's what scared me.
Consistently.
No, I had to pause and listen again.
No, like it was like, hey?
Yeah.
Rewind. I also had to rewind it a bit and listen to it again. Did I hear correctly or nyamsugela? Nah.
I mean,
but I heard what I heard and my ears cannot unhear it. That to me was very also like a highlight.
Maybe that explains why someone would complain about the judge.
That letter,
and then freely, you know, you felt like you are part of this case.
And all the recommendations of it being a retired judge who was freely available and stuff, it was too convenient and too aligning with the judge that eventually showed up. It was so weird. And at the time, we couldn't really say anything because we were like, these are deep speculations. Let's just leave them alone. We'll see itself play out. But now that they've been meeting consistently and regularly with the investigating team, and provided that this investigation was prosecutorially driven.
Yeah. So another aspect, before I forget, I'm saying this because I just kept it in my head. I'm remembering from the bar. It's a court of public opinion. So yeah, the cold case team.
Yes.
Did I hear right when I heard Gininda saying Warrant Officer Makubo and Butelis was part of that team?
I did not hear it.
No, he said my team, the cold case team. He didn't say.
No, he wanted to be the leader of this team.
Yes, he said I was the leader of the cold case team.
That
then
part
the lead.
I heard where he's.
That's why I'm saying.
The leader.
Is he insinuating? Now I'm asking this question because it's very interesting, considering the fact that Warrant Officer Makubo in that court has denounced that kind of a team, right? Called the cold case team.
By the commissioner, according to Warrant Officer Makubo, they were also called by the commissioner to come and help with the case. So Gininda is making it seem like he was appointed to be above all of them.
Let's say that's what Gininda is saying.
That's what he's saying.
We cannot judge at this point in time, but Warrant Officer Makubo has a different view also, that they were all equally appointed and all equal in terms of working.
And so far, the team that is cold case is Gininda, Mokhani, and the other one, Ramohala, and the what's her name? What's the other one's name?
I forgot.
Mukula.
Chico, thank you very much
It's
for
Mukula.
for your generous gift. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, is it Chico?
Yes, Chico.
Thank you, Chico. Thank you. And then the cold case unit, according to Brigadier Gininda, consists of those teams. It does not consist of Warrant Officer Makubo and Joyce Buthelezi. He did not count them initially. So if he included them today...
No, that's how it sounds like. My team was assembled.
I think but I'm not allowed to say my opinion. But
no, you are allowed, as long as it's not taking our channel down and getting us sued. Yeah.
From my perspective, or from my opinion and my own speculation listening to him, is that he wants to, not even wants to, he has appointed himself as the leader of this investigation team overall. And that's what he's saying. He's saying that the commissioner said to him that he's the leader of this investigation. So him being the leader, it means everyone else was working under him.
Yes.
Everyone else was taking instructions from him.
Yes.
And he's wanting to insinuate that Warrant Officer Makubo and Kalen Buthelezi also took instructions from him.
That's what it sounds like. In fact, that's what it says.
Yes.
That's what it says.
But we'll wait for Warrant Officer Makubo and Kennel.
As of now,
should they come and testify to tell us exactly
the only information that we have is that Gininda was in charge there.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone
we know he was in charge of Mohani and everyone else. We're just not sure if he was in charge of Makubo and Buthelezi. That's what we are not sure of.
But what I heard today, in not so many words, that's what he was saying. I don't know. I heard that because I had to remember it. That hey, this man is talking about cold case team and is including Warrant Officer Makubo.
But they were never a part of the cold case.
Yes, hence I had to remember that because he came and denounced such team.
Yes.
He never said we were never part of that team, but he said there is no such as cold case.
There's no cold case unit. That's what he said.
Yes.
And yeah, now he's still with the DPCIs, with the Hawks. And Buthelezi is still there at the psychology department. So we'll see when they come and testify what is their side of the story. But not this I'm taking with a pinch of salt.
Definitely we have to do that because everything changes.
Hey, Kajano, he was changing a lot. There's a lot of things he was changing. We still have a lot to go through, but a little bit of some story that broke today. Don't know if I should report on it or just let you know, guys.
Yeah, just report on it.
Longa Twala has been rearrested. This after he failed to appear in court last month, after he was released from custody when his lawyer argued that he was not a flight risk.
Is it a fact?
A warrant of arrest for Longa was issued. Apparently it was issued sometime last week. And in September, Longa allegedly broke into his father's house and stole that equipment that's worth close to 300,000 rands. And police say that he will appear in court on Wednesday. So that should be next week, Wednesday, because the news broke out yesterday. So yes, he's been rearrested according to the reports. I don't know. Nake Thomas with this situation. I believe it when I see it. That's me. My opinion. Nzoibona when I see it, because there's no picture, no nothing. No video. Just the reports. So we're gonna rely on the reports for now.
Why would he be arrested?
Akiri, he did not appear.
Yeah, I know that. I'm saying why he would be.
He didn't show up for court.
The real reason why he would be rearrested, if you get me.
They're saying it's for the other case. It has nothing to do with Senzo's case. That's what they're saying. But what would they want him inside of the jail for? Someone was saying that
maybe they want him to testify under Baloyi. Maybe that's what they bring him, because they just realize they might need him. But I think he would crack less under the protection than with no protection. I don't know if you get me.
So, Uti, they are going to give him the strength and the stamina by him always being available to be ready to testify.
I think,
unlike doing it outside, because sometimes he disappears, sometimes he breaks, and
that's my speculation, man. I'm not saying that's the case, but I feel like after closing the case, saying that Gininda is the last one, then you realize
when we come back that they have a new witness.
Yes.
And it's Longa. And some people are saying if you are arrested for another case, you cannot. But how come the accused are appearing?
No, you can. That's not true. But you cannot testify.
That you cannot be called to be a witness in another case when you are arrested.
No,
man. I don't
know
how true that is.
No, man. The statement from Butelis, so-called Butelis. Hey, there's no such thing as that.
All right, let's start with the proceedings. They started with Advocate Baloyi challenging the proposition that was put to Gininda that Ntanzi heard about the death of Senzo Meyiwa on the news. Baloyi went back to Mokhani's testimony where he said that he heard about the murder on the news, and he says that there was a slight difference in that proposition, and it was that it was heard on the radio.
I mean, really? Really, in old men.
Who challenged or who challenged that it was on the radio versus on the... Why does it matter, Advocate Baloyi? Because
now was just challenging this on the basis of radio. Nisi said radio.
Yes, while they said in Mokhani's testimony, it said that he heard it on the news. While Nisi said that news and radio are two peas in a pond, when one speaks of the news, first things that come to mind is the radio or maybe even the television. Nisi said that there's really no difference between the two. It's a question of semantics. And the judge said that it is two different things. And the judge thought that he was correcting, or Advocate Baloyi was correcting Nisi on whether Mokhani told him about the death of Senzo Meyiwa. He had it on the news.
A complete different scenario that could actually distort the whole thing. People, are you sure this guy is listening? Or is he listening to find a way? I don't know.
No, I feel like he's finding a way.
Because he changes everything. This is not the first thing. DNA, he changed it. This one, which is, it's a drastic, big thing if you look at how this would impact. Because now they're saying now Ntanzi was never told about this or was never questioned about this. Therefore, he just remembered out of his will, which is what Gininda would like the most, because that would mean that Ntanzi did the crime because he just remembered without being questioned about it. You know, that's a feeling that the judge was pushing this thing to. It's fine, allegedly.
Well, Nisi said that it was the radio instead of the news. Then he continued with the cross-examination of lead investigator Brigadier Bongani Gininda. Nisi picked up from the warning statements that he previously argued were not used when Gininda had a discussion with Ntanzi, or rather interviewed him, interrogated him, or the process that led to the confession. There are no warning statements regarding that whole process. And Gininda said that he had offered to bring the different warning statements, SAP3M, which he said he got the feeling that they were not accepted. He said that there are different ones. There's no prescribed one. There's no specific warning statement.
See like how one answer keeps on changing.
He was wobbling his way out of what he said last week. And the one advocate, Nisi, referred him to, there are different ones that are currently in use. He said that he did not say that the interview of accused number 2, he did not choose to use that particular form. He said that he made it clear that there was no warning statement. Statement completed the first time when he interviewed him. However, at a later stage, a warning statement was taken from him. He said he repeated the example of people being arrested on the streets, not having such forms. However, Tanzi was not arrested on the streets. He was arrested on the same night, taken to a police station. So the way everything was just all over the place, they didn't even consider to take out a warning statement and fill it in. Because even when people are arrested on the street, the first thing that is done when they get to the police station, that warning statement is filled up from the moment that the interview process begins. That's when you start feeling nervous, once you start seeing that paper. Then they may say certain things that lead to the discovery of evidence. Then the form becomes available only when the person is detained and is prepared to be processed for that directive by the NPA. Then the form gets completed. He wanted to give an example, and he gave an example relating to Advocate Mnisi's client. But then Advocate Mnisi quickly stopped him and said that if he wanted to totally give examples, then he will give those examples, okay? Mnisi asked him that if there is a point he wanted to argue, then he should do it via the state. He should not argue with him, because there are so many things that he will argue with him and he will not be able to keep up. He said that he doesn't need to argue with the witness. Baloyi said that that was unfair. He is trying to elaborate, to try and demonstrate the answer. There's nothing wrong with that. Then the judge allowed him to continue to over-explain to us. Gininda said that the warning statement Mnisi placed in court, it was being shown to them, is similar to the one that he had. So now it is similar. Last week it was different. And the audacity to want to use the situation of accused number 3's initial arrest.
It's not the audacity, it's just it's just a provocation.
I will get to it later on, but I was like very
gaslighting of high note, if you ask me.
Yes. It was very condescending. It was very like, okay, what is this now? What is this? So Mnisi said that it was irrelevant, that the judge wanted Gininda to continue. Then Mnisi said that now the court wants to hear irrelevant evidence. The judge then said it was not irrelevant. He said he's giving an example of a warning form.
Can you imagine the judge is defending the person bringing a different case in a different court?
Yeah. Accused number 3 is what Gininda said. He said accused number 3 was interviewed on the 9th of February 2014. That's the day he was arrested. And in my opinion, this is very much irrelevant. As I was listening to it, I'm like, why does it seem like not only is he condescending and disrespectful or showing arrogance towards Mnisi, also the fact that he wants to take shine for other police officers' work. He wants to use their work to shine and to wiggle himself out of a very sticky situation that he could not do his job properly. Now he wants to use the credit of other officers who actually did their job properly to want to wiggle himself out of.
He didn't do his job properly.
He did not fill in the warning statements at the beginning while he was talking to Ntanzi.
Oh.
Is that supposed to be happening? He only filled them in before the court appearance in Boxback. That's like how many months after he arrested them. They filled them out when in October, while they had been arrested since June. That is proper.
No, it's not.
That's where my opinion is coming from. Then Mnisi said, is it relevant? And now Mr. Gininda says that it was alleged that he was interviewed. Now he was talking about hearsay, that the irrelevant past that he's talking about. And the court said, let him explain. The judge asked Mnisi to confide. Mnisi said that Brigadier Gininda basically saying that the wage of this form XX, which is the warning statement or the sample of the warning statement that he had, plays a role when a suspect is being prepared to go before a magistrate. In other words, the first time that this form is used is when after the suspect has been interviewed. So many the first time that this form is used is when you are preparing for court. So Gininda said that's not what he said. He said, can I ask that Mr. Mnisi give me an indulgence to explain my answer, because my answer relates to how he asked me the question. The part that he's putting now is what I said, and when I elaborate, I said I will look like I'm venturing into issues he did not ask.
That's what you look to do most of the time, by saying you would look like, I've explained this, my lord.
He asked Mnisi to be patient with him and that he'll only motivate to what he was asked. But he never does that. That's what I was thinking. You never do that, okay? You never do that. You just deviate and you go all the way in a different path. Well, he said that when Mnisi asked him questions, he does not interject. So there is this intention to confide, literally accusing Mnisi of wanting to confide information. Like I said before, Gininda knows strategies of not only introducing hearsay evidence, but also getting under the skin of advocates, making them feel somehow. He knows how to do that. It's all a strategy that he's really good at. And now he accused Mnisi of wanting to confide, since in my opinion, his plan was not really going according to plan, in my opinion. Okay, Mnisi said that it's because he's not being irrelevant. Then Gininda turned to the laws and said, or turned to the judge and said, my lord, to say that that's what he means. He's not done saying my part. Mr. Mnisi is interjecting. I'm not sure how far we can take this. He now said that the warning statement is also taken when there is a directive from the prosecutor. When the prosecutor said to you during the course of the investigation, go and obtain a warning statement from this person. He said he was not only referring to one part. Mnisi then asked him the time at which this form is to be used according to you is when the prosecutor says or gives instructions that you need to go and get a warning statement from a suspect. Instance number 2, it is used when the suspect is being prepared to be processed to go to court. And Gininda said that those two, when the police are of the view that they will want to present the matter to the prosecution in an instance where you conduct an investigation. Like in this matter, he said he completed the form before the matter was presented to the DPP. Then the DPP will have an insight of what the accused or the suspects are saying in relation to this matter. Mnisi then asked him, do you also tell the court that there are no specific directives with regard to which form to be used? Because, as you mentioned, there are various forms at various police stations. Gininda said that that is not what he said. Is it not what he said last week? Last week he told us that there are different types of warning statements. Am I Dilulu?
No.
Today he completely turned around. He turned everything around, and now he's talking about one warning statement that is not so different to the one Mnisi was holding in court. So he's saying absolutely not. What he said, that there's no prescribed or specific form. The instruction that a warning statement must be used is there, but there's no instruction that says that this form, for example, the booklet that Advocate Mnisi gave to him, is the only form that must be used when it relates to the warning statement. So he said, I am referring to the form, not a directive that the warning statement must not be used. Again, twisting what Mnisi is asking and being very evasive, in my opinion. Mnisi asked him to understand his question. And that is what he was saying, that according to him, there's no directive that says that it is only this form that must be used when conducting an interview with a suspect. Gininda said that he understood his question differently, but his answer is, Mnisi then stopped him and said, before you answer, do you understand my question?
Yo, guys, just like the video, please press that like button. It's 192. Towards this, I see is busy telling you guys, please like the video. We have 447 people viewing currently, but about 300 or so have forgotten to press that like button. Press it. Thank you.
Thank you. So Gininda asked for an opportunity to answer. And then Nisi said, do you understand my question, yes or no? So that I can explain it or can repeat it, because I don't want you to answer something that I did not say. I've just heard you now. You are repeating my question in a way that I did not ask it. Then Baloyi said, can the witness be allowed to answer? Nisi repeated the question again. Gininda answered that according to the national instruction, not according to him, he says Yana he doesn't own the SAPS.
It didn't sound like that when he said it initially. Now that is followed up, he is saying he's not.
And he says according to the national instruction, and he said that he can refer him to that when they adjourn or during tea time, refer him to the specific standing order. There's no prescribed or a specific warning statement to say that this particular warning statement is only one you can use when you take a warning statement. That is what he said before, and it's what he's been saying. No, it's not. It is not. And he said that sometime last year, he was asked by Advocate Baloyi to assist with their legal services to provide such a standing order. He said that he had done this and now he's doing it again. Nisi then asked him, so you're saying according to the national instruction, there's an indication that this is not only or not the only form that can be used, but there are other forms. He said, when I am in view with a suspect or in an interview with a suspect, it has been done. And Gininda said that that is not what he said. He is being quoted out of context. He did not say that the national instruction says that the form must not be used. He said that it is said that it says there is no prescribed or specific form. Nisi then asked him, and you said that you made that national instruction available to the state. Gininda said yes. He was asked by the state during that time, and he engaged with the legal services. It was communicated to the state advocate, that's Advocate Baloyi. Nisi asked for the state to give them a copy of that national instruction, and Nisi also asked for the other warning forms that the Brigadier was talking about. Gininda said that he offered and it was rejected. So he said he wanted to do it to remove the suspicion and misunderstanding, but he will make it available tomorrow. I hope they don't forget tomorrow. We need to see those different types of warning statements that he's talking about.
Like they forgot the timetable?
Like they forgot the timetable. Now he's done writing. And I don't think they saw his timetable and what it looks like actually. I just heard it being communicated by word of mouth. But it is what it is. Nisi then said, you are saying the planning took place at the hostel and you are basing it on the confessions of accused too. Gininda said yes, and the statements of one or two people who said so. Nisi then said subsequent to the information you received from Constable Zungu, and accused number 3 was fingered and arrested for the offense. Gininda said, it is so, my lord. Mnisi then said, accused 2 also got arrested as a result of Constable Zungu as part of the plotters to kill Senzo. Gininda said, yes, I say so because Constable Zungu was the first person to come to the police. Then he mentioned his father. And then a statement kicked in on the 17th of November where he deposed it. And that's where the sighting of accused 1 and 2 came in. Mnisi now turned to Mjiako. Dogozo Mjiako.
Mjaiya.
Mjaika. Mjaiya. Mjiako.
I like how he butchers it. He butchers it. I think he just does it on purpose. I don't know, man. He feel like he does it. That one of me is like full of jokes.
Mjaiya. I don't think Giaco likes that wherever he is. His name Big Butcher. Like he asked how Ntanzi managed to get a hold of his lawyer, and Gininda said that his lawyer client privilege that he can't venture into. He said that it's not his terrain. Mnisi pressed on the issue of the power of attorney and the letter of instruction, which he said he had not been provided. Mnisi also stopped Baloyi from reading into the record what he considered to be proof from Pinky Faintilengem Ntanzi called Mjiako, and eventually we came to know that they're actually talking about a police call me that is said to have been sent by Ntanzi to Mjiako.
When was this police call me sent? I can bet you money it was not on the 18th of what?
Of June.
Or 17th of June. I'm sure it's far ahead when Mjaya was already representing dance.
It could be, yes.
Now.
It could be.
You know, if
because I don't remember.
I think this is limited also by the fact that it's not the representative of accused number two. But this was because the work of Ramusipin. The interesting thing to us there is to say, let's go there. Let's go there. Well, now let us look at this. An SMS is sent.
Where's that? Please call me.
An SMS is sent, right? Please call me is sent. Is there any call that comes in after that? Because 205 is there. Is there any call that comes in?
It'll also be interesting to know if the numbers of Mjiako were already saved as in the contacts.
No. Did Mjaya, after sending a police call, sending a police call, did Mjaya call?
I doubt it because there's no phone call. I doubt it.
Definitely there's no phone call. You know that there's no phone call, right?
There's no phone call.
And you cannot talk through the police call.
No, you cannot.
You can only write I love you. Now LUVU.
Yes. Yes, you have to be very brief. I think it's 10 letters that you were allowed.
So you couldn't have told Mjaya through a police call to say, Mjaya, I'm arrested. I'm in this area. This is what is happening.
Now that you are mentioning it, yes, a phone call. Where's the phone call?
So you're talking about the SMSs. Let us go. You have all the downloads of accused number 2. Let us go through it. Show me where the SMS is. Show me.
Mjiako received a police call and knew exactly when Tanzi was, which prison he was arrested in, from a police call me.
And now the police call, I can tell you, it does not align. It would not align with the days.
Is it the 17th?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's the way Gininda investigates. As long as there's something somewhere, I don't know those people who like calling these celebrities, thinking they have a chance. We find a phone number of Gary Kumar on your phone. You are going down.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Well, Gininda said that he never claimed to want power of attorney, even from them. This was a whole argument around power of attorney, and I even recall Advocate Baloyi standing up to object, to say that it's not the responsibility of the Gininda to know or to ask for the power of attorney. It's between the client and this is trying to exonerate or to move themselves away from the relationship or the so-called relationship of client and attorney that Ntanzi supposedly have or allegedly had with Mjiako. Even though Mjiako, when it came to Ntanzi said that he didn't know him. He didn't know him. He just popped out of nowhere, and now all of a sudden he's talking on his behalf. He's making him go and confess and stuff like that. And there's a clip of Ntanzi actually from the Boxback Magistrate Court where he was saying that he doesn't want Mjiako to represent him anymore. He doesn't want him to represent him anymore. He doesn't want him. He said that he's forcing him to take this.
Confess.
Yes. he's forcing him to take a guilty plea for this case, and he doesn't want him anymore. And Jaco was a no-show in that court.
This Mjaya mysterious.
It was a no-show. He sent someone, apparently it was a lady advocate who was working with him, and then that lady said she's also withdrawing on behalf of Mjako. Then Mjako came on the following appearance just before the proceedings could even start. He said that he was terminating the mandate or something like that. It was weird. That court appearance from Boxback, it was one of the weirdest. It was so weird. Like, it was so weird. And I couldn't hear properly, but it was you could tell that the tension in there was intense. Then Gininda said that it is part of the lawyer and client privilege, and he has never asked him for those documents in relation to any of the lawyers that have represented him. There was first Mjiako, then Mr. Tobani, and Tefo, and now Mr. Ramosipeli. And in any of those lawyers, he's never asked them or any of them for any of those documents. So he's exonerating himself from wanting proof that the people that represent the people that he's investigating and has arrested are actually lawyers. So does this mean that if some random person just shows up without having the representation or the right to represent a person, you're not gonna, as a police officer, you're not supposed to ask? Is that what he's telling us? There's no document that they are supposed to present to show that they are indeed a lawyer and they've got permission from this person to represent them. Is that what he's trying to say here? So he said that even in the court appearances of accused number 2, there's nowhere in the transcript where he said that he did not know Mjiako. Nisi then focused on the factors that Gininda considered before concluding that there were intruders in the house. Gininda reiterated that he considered independent evidence in the statements from the people who were in the house before the shooting. He said the reason why he did that is because there was a cloud hanging over the people who were in the house and that they were questionable. He said that the people in the house were questionable to him. He did not want to rely on their statements. He said that he relied on the neighbor's statements, the DNA, which excluded everyone in the house. He also said that he relied on the AVL of Longa. He said that he wanted to be guided by objective evidence. Nisi asked him what is it that he found in the statement of the people in the house to make him say that they are questionable. Baloyi objected, saying that Gininda had elaborated already. I don't understand why he didn't want Gininda to answer questions. At every turn, he wanted to stop him from answering questions. Well, after the short adjournment, Nisi continued and repeated the question and asked him again, what made you say that the statements in those of the people that were in the house was questionable? Gininda said that I will repeat this because I have answered this question. There were allegations that there were no intruders in the house. So my view was that because there was a dark cloud hanging over them, then I should park the statements and look at the objective evidence. It's not that there was something in the statements that informed that decision. So basically, no investigations were done here, ne?
That's what it sounds like.
There was no investigations that were done here. You just picked and choose whatever suited whatever you had already made your mind up about. There's no investigation. It does not feel like an investigation was done at all. Nisi then said, having gone through the statements of the people who were in the house, is there a time when you interviewed them on the statements? And Gininda said, is this after I concluded that there were intruders? Nisi said, at any point. Gininda said that not all of them, the people he interacted with are Mr. Tumelo Madlala, Mthokozisi Twala, Longo Twala, Makumalo, and Zandi Kumalo. And the only person that he did not interact with is Kelly Kumalo. How interesting. So Mnisi then asked him the reason, and Gininda said, like I indicated, she was implicated as a trigger point in the confession statements, and this was a prosecution-led investigation. So having interviewed these people, were you satisfied, Mnisi asked, that you had interviewed them about versus the contents of their statements was aligned? Then Gininda said, yes, the bottom line is that there were intruders. The essence of the statement was not to take more statements. Haibo. So can you hear here that he had already made up his mind that there were intruders, number one, even before speaking to the people that were in the house, number one.
Yes.
Number two, when he says that the essence was not to take more statements, so he picked and chose whatever statements that aligned with what he had already made up in his mind that there were no intruders. So the statements that he worked with are the ones that agree to the effect that there were no statements. And of course, the ones that necessarily did not agree, there were alterations that had to be made around the revolver, the gun with a wheel situations.
Yes.
And then the statements were done again, and that part there where it talks about the firearm that they claim to have seen in 2014 now had to change to say that they were not sure, they don't know guns or something like that.
Yes.
But Tumelo Madlala eventually was not able to get rid of that whole gun with the wheel situation. He tried, but it stuck. Nisi said, was that the only consideration? And Gininda said, when I spoke to Madlala and Mthokozi Sithwala, it was also regarded the ID parade where they said that their recollection was 50-50. That's what he recalls. And Nisi asked him, why did you limit it to Tumelo Madlala and Mthokozi Sithwala and not extend it to all the adults that were in the house? Gininda said that you look into what people say in their statements, and this was a prosecutorial-driven investigation. So he's trying to tell us here that was it the prosecutorial team that told him to focus more on Tumelo and Mthogo?
In a sense, that's what he's saying.
So he's saying that the investigation, hence those two were approved since it was a prosecutorial-driven investigation.
This is where now we are saying, don't ask me this, ask Baloyi.
Then Nisi said, are you saying the reason why you didn't extend it to the other people in the house is because the team of prosecutors leading you didn't give you an instruction to do so? Gininda said, no. Such was discussed in terms of who you can pursue. You get guidance in terms of the docket. Then he said in terms of Kelly Kumalo at the time when we had sight of all the accused, Miss Kelly Kumalo, it was alleged that she was a trigger point. How do you pursue that person when there's an allegation against her? Because in the main docket, prior to us having sight of the accused, she was a witness whom her phone was stolen. Subsequent to that investigation, she is now fingered as a trigger point. How do you pursue that? Investigations needed to be done either to collaborate or disprove those facts, and unfortunately the investigations proved otherwise. There was also the see-through bag on Kelly, Mnube and Longa's phones. You needed to look into that. And Ms. Kumalo Senior, the first investigation team, there was an ID parade and the wrong person was arrested and the case fell apart. You take all that into account for the ID parade, and that's what needed to be taken into account. So it seems like Gininda was following the instructions of the prosecutors, in my opinion.
That's what he's saying.
Then Lisi said, let's come to Makumalo. Why, like Madlala and Twala, was she not approached for an ID parade immediately after the arrest of the 5 accused before court? Gininda said he did say that Makumalo identified Mbata back in 2014. So now we finally have it on the court record because it has been a rumor for so long. Do you remember Tumelo Madlala actually alluding to it? Was it in the documentary? He alluded to it, but he didn't want to say it. Put it on the record. Finally, the investigating officer has put it on record that yes, Kelly Kumalo's mother, now we can freely say it, is the one who said Zamogudle Mbata is
and
the one.
And they were denying that, right?
Yes, they were denying it. Kelly's mother is the one who pointed at Zamogudle Mbata in the ID parade back in 2014.
A woman who knows this person very well.
Sees her, or would used to see him almost every day, because apparently he was there by the car wash. Every day he was working there.
Right, guys, push the like buttons, press that like button, subscribe, Join the membership, please, guys. I see we're on 269, 561 views. Come on, guys. Let's smash it and be above it. Thank you.
So he said that Makumalo identified Mbata back in 2014. That is before Brigadier Gininda's time on the case. And it emerged when the matter was postponed for bail that he couldn't have been at the crime scene and was subsequently released in light of that. And he said we couldn't have invited her. So already she's casted upon as a what? An unreliable witness.
Yeah, boo.
Nisi then said, what has that got to do with an ID parade in respect of these accused before court? Gininda said, you have a person who identified a wrong person and that person gets arrested. I'm not sure if Advocate Nisi says you can rely on that person. Which is true. I have no beef with you, Brigadier Gininda, concerning this. Even I. In fact, I would have done a little bit more than that. I would have questioned her thoroughly. We still want to know why she pointed at the wrong person. What was the reason? Wasn't Brigadier Gininda actually supposed to be doing that as an investigator?
He was. Unfortunately, he didn't.
Why did you point at the wrong person? Why did you give the police a merry-go-round? Why did you do that? So Gininda then said, when you look at the interest of justice, that's not how it is applied. It works both ways. He said he could not put himself in a position to subject the accused to that given what had happened. What does he mean?
Given?
He's saying that when he looked at the interest of justice and how it is applied, it works both ways. So he could not put himself in a position to subject the accused to that, meaning he could not put them what happened to Mbata.
Yes.
Given what had happened in the past with Mbata.
He's showering himself with a good person type of a situation. He's saying, I'm a good person, I wouldn't do that, and and my law does not allow that.
So does it also speak to the element of he wasn't sure what the people were going to point?
Yeah.
If he wasn't sure, then why are these people even attending this trial to begin with? You were confident enough to take this matter to trial, but you were not confident to put them through an ID parade. That's strange. Nisi then said to exclude Makumalo from a possible ID parade was because she had already ID'd the wrong person in another parade. So you took a decision not to approach her. And I remember, why is he not mentioning the ID parade that he did with Mtogozi Sitwala? Do you remember that ID parade?
I think so, yeah.
Well, there was a time Thokozisi testified and said that he had pointed at somebody in a prison or something like that. He was showing that ID parade and Brigadier Gininda said that he pointed at that person. And then he came to court and said the opposite and said he never pointed at that person. Do you guys remember that? Why is it not being spoken about? What was happening there from Brigadier Gininda's side? Because Mtogozi shared his side of the story. Then Gininda said in a nutshell, a decision was taken not to approach her. And Mnisi says, do you approach Zandi? And Gininda said they did speak to Zandi. The only thing that he can cite is that he needed clarity on was the communication between her and her sister. He said that it is clear that what is being said there does not take away from the fact that there were intruders. So Gininda also disclosed that they had a lot of meetings with Zandi Khumalo, and it looks like she was the only witness from the house who Brigadier Gininda claims to have had a lot of meetings with. And Mnisi say, why did you not approach Zandi for an ID parade after the arrest of the accused? And Gininda said that the same as the others, there was a decision that she should not be approached for purposes of ID parade, although there was interaction between them. but there was a question mark about the communication between her and her sister. So he's alluding to the communication between Zandi and her sister, whether they were talking or not. Why did that matter to Brigadier Gininda? Then Gininda said, what I can say is that there's no evidence up to today that implicates Zandi, that she may have known about the trigger point of this matter. And Gininda said, standing here, I do not have any assertion or evidence that she, Zandi, knew that the deceased will be killed, or there are people hired, except that discussion. So already he took Zandi out of the plotting, the so-called plotting to kill Senzo. Then Nisi then said, you are therefore saying that there is no decision taken by the prosecution team not to approach Zandi for the ID parade. And Gininda said, insofar as Kelly Khumalo, Longwe, Makhumalo, and Zandi Khumalo, there was no decision from the NPA to say that they must approach them for an ID parade. Insofar as Tumalo Madlala and Mtogozi Sitwala, there was a decision to say that you can utilize them for ID parade. Hence, he went with them, and they said 50-50 in terms of their recollection, and they gave statements to that effect. Gininda said that there was no decision that Zandi should be approached for an ID parade, but Zandi was interacting with him and the prosecution. Nisi was laughing at this point, but he continued to Gininda to say that insofar as utilizing her, the ID parade, there was a decision that she should not participate. There was no decision from the prosecution that she should be approached to attend the ID parade, as it was Mr. Madlala and Mr. Twala. Nisi explained to Gininda that at the end, he will be arguing this point to the court based on what he has said. And he said that he will not be in a position to argue that if he does not understand what he is saying. His argument will touch base a lot on what he's saying right now at this moment, alerting him that it was important. And Mnisi said with the decision that was taken that you should not approach Zandi by the prosecution team, it was just a silent thing. Nobody said approach her, nobody said do not approach her. And Gininda now said no. Kelly Khumalo, the mother, Zandi Khumalo, and Longa Twala, there was no decision from the NPA to say that they must approach them for the purposes of the ID parade. Hence, when he went to them, they said 50-50 of their recollection, and to the effect that they gave statements. Nisi then said, at least now we know with regard to Longwe, Makhumalo, Zandi, and Longwe, that there was no decision that was taken that they should be approached for a possible identification parade after these accused persons were arrested. And Gininda said, that is so, my lord. I have to give my opinion about the judge because at this moment I felt like he looked tense. I don't know whether it's just me or what, but I feel like he's done, in my opinion. He didn't have energy somehow. I was expecting him to interrupt, but for some weird reason he was quiet today. Do you think he feels defeated by Brigadier Gininda's evidence, or he's just looking for something?
A judge is a judge. At the end of the day, they know what they are doing and how they are doing it, whether it's
just
right and wrong.
surprising, you know, but I don't know. I am so, I'm not used to. Well, after the long adjournment, Gininda reiterated that there was no ID parade conducted. Mnisi said, would I be correct to say that the reason why Zandi was not approached for a possible ID parade is that there were a possible suspicion hanging over her head about the possibility that she was involved? Although it was not so clear from the beginning, but later on in the investigation, as it continued, she was cleared. Gininda said not in that context. The question was, what is it that she knew when there was this communication? Not that she was involved. From the beginning, there was no indication that she knew. There was no evidence implicating her at all. All they wanted to establish is what did she know in terms of that communication with her sister. That sounds like snitching conversations, in my opinion. In my opinion. Okay. So Mnisi then turned to Makumalo's statement, and Gininda said that they interviewed her at a much later stage. They went through her statement first. Nisi asked, did she confirm the correctness of the statement that you read with her? And Gininda said she did not come to them alone. She actually came with an attorney that was representing her. And that interaction happened at the offices of the DPP. So it wasn't a one-on-one type of conversation. For instance, with Ms. Zandi Kumalo, Gininda now gave us more tea, you know. He said it was a one-on-one. They would arrange when they would meet, and then they would meet. But with Mrs. Kumalo, Zandi Kumalo's mother, she came legally represented. The state advocate had to be involved. So it was a different approach in terms of that interaction. So it happened at the offices of the DPP. You see the power of money, the power of Muchankura coming in with a lawyer. You come in with your lawyer, you are well represented. You even get to have the prosecutor there. Kwaze kwamnandi. Very nice. I can only imagine what much of a difference it would have made for especially accused number 1 and 2 had they had lawyers present when they first got arrested. But that's a story for another day. Nisi then said, did you then confirm the content of the statement with her? Gininda said what was confirmed is that she stood by the position that there were intruders. So she still maintained with her lawyer present that there were intruders. The statement was not confirmed word for word, but the essence of the interview was to say that yes, there were intruders, and then she deposed an affidavit to that effect. So, Brigadier Gininda, of all the things that you could have asked, especially about this ID parade where she pointed at the wrong person, you just decided to let that go, and you focused on one thing alone, that there were intruders, and that is it. And she wrote her statement and her affidavit, and life went on. Of the many things that you could have asked her, you only wanted her to confirm that there were no intruders. Yeah. I'm not happy, Shem, with this quality of investigation. I'm not happy with the quality of investigation, but what do I know? Then Nisi said, do you agree with that at the core of your investigation that it was the identity of the intruders? And Gininda said, yes, it is, but the identity was not relying on the ID parade. There are other forms of identification. He said in terms of linking a person that is suspected to be involved, identification does not only solely rely on ID parade. There are other means, DNA, all manner of things that you can rely on. So now he's using a DNA that is currently saying that there is no match. You didn't do an ID parade. Now you are saying that there are other ways that you can use to say that these people are the right people, and number 1 is DNA, which is not a match. And he said locations. If you place a person at the crime scene with forensic evidence, identification is broader. It is not solely focused on ID parade. Even with the locations, there's not even a single accused person that you have placed at the scene with that location. You use towers. Still, the towers are not telling you that they were in that address. Nisi then said, but would you then agree that the core of your investigation in this case was about the identity of the intruder who could have done this? Gininda said yes. The answer is twofolded. At the beginning, after the analysis of the docket, when this position was formed, there were intruders. The core was then to identify the people that may have been involved in the commission of this heinous crime. And at the stage when they got to Ms. Kumalo Senior, the people were already identified, and he knew their targets, and the identification process in terms of who was involved was already done. The train had already left the station. When I heard these words, I remembered our caller last week. You know, the train had already left the station.
Yeah.
Then Nisi said, did she tell you whether or not she could be able to identify any of those suspects who got in to the house? And Gininda said that he does not recall the exact location. They were taking notes, and the state advocate was taking notes as well. What was prevalent to him was that she confirmed that there were intruders, but does not even recall if that question was posed to her. So Brigadier Gininda here was just a spectator in this meeting because Makumalo arrived with her own lawyer. He could not even ask her questions, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm just asking. It's not even an opinion. It's a question I have in my head. That here you are, the lead investigator. Just because they rocked up with a lawyer, it inhibited you from asking questions that are very important. Again, you know, I'm just perplexed. Nisi then gave Gininda a lesson on the three prosecutors that he was referring to, Advocate Mahwata, Advocate Leonard, and Advocate Baloyi, saying that they have worked in as prosecutors, and they've had an experience of more than 19 years in prosecution. And Baloyi objected, saying that he does not know what the relevance of that question is. I was shocked that he has a problem. I mean, this is a good thing for him. It's a career, flower, 19 years of being a prosecutor. Why is it a problem? It was not a problem when he was mentioning in court that accused number 5 had called Advocate Mshololo from the jail cells, right?
Yes.
Putting her on blast like that. But now they're giving you your flowers for 19 years as a prosecutor, and you are now objecting. I don't understand. Then he said that he had not heard that accused number 2, Nisi said that the issue of this being a prosecutor-led investigation came from the witnesses, so it will be a travesty of justice if he does not go to the core of the issue that the team of prosecutors had to lead the investigating team on, because that is not a secret. Gininda said that the other 2 advocates were not in the meeting with Makumalo. It was only Advocate Baloyi. So Advocate Baloyi was clear from the beginning that he will be the one leading the investigation. And he was identified as the lead prosecutor from the beginning. Gininda confirmed that at the time he interviewed Makumalo, the train had already left the station. He had already identified all the accused persons sitting in court. Gininda said that their identification does not rely on the ID parade. When asked if he's saying because he said that when he interviewed these witnesses, the train had already left the station. So that was these witnesses, what they were saying in their statements, which Brigadier Gininda read. And he could not have assisted him in any way to find a collaboration that the people he arrested were the people that got into the house on the 26th of October 2014. Well, Gininda said that it was not what he was saying. He said that the example would rely on an investigating officer who starts the matter from the beginning. If the matter is brought before you, then you build your case, then the question Advocate Mrs. asking him would be relevant. He said that it's not the same situation here. Okay, now he's saying it's not the same situation. So he's justifying this lack of investigation that he has done to be because he was not the first investigating officer on the case. He found the train moving. In this instance, where there are various investigators, these witnesses gave statements who dealt with this matter and was given to him. He said that he was not starting from the beginning. When he did the fact-finding mission, he relied on what was contained around the letter, and then he went on to collaborate what was said outside. It's not like a matter of an initiation stage. So there was a clear indication of where the investigation should go after one made the conclusion that there were intruders, and he said that they would have taken statements from statements going to these witnesses and retaking their statements, which was done to some of them. And he said some of them had given 2 or 3 statements. There would be no need for him to do it again because they were interviewed numerous times by different investigating officers. Nisi then asked him, did the information and the interview assist you to find some of the collaboration which you have said you these people who were involved in the commission of the offense. Gininda said that it was a confirmation that they were intruders, and the confirmation of the dreadlocks and the demands of the cell phone and money. And he said that it was contained in the confessions of accused 1 and 2. So Mnisi now introduced Gladness Khumalo's statement, and he said he will call her if the state insists. And it read part, it said, "I saw kitchen door open slowly and a black male entering carrying a firearm, wearing a hat, but can't tell the color, and also a beige jacket. Another unknown black man entered. The one with the firearm had short dreadlocks." Gininda said, "I follow." Nisi said what Khumalo is describing is the suspect, which the state drums so heartily that it's accused number 3. She says he had short dreadlocks up to his neck. Having read this as an investigator, were there any other questions you asked her regarding the identification? And Gininda said the witnesses in the house made different statements. And when you look at the 2 statements, she doesn't say it's accused 3 explicitly. And you have the description of dreadlocks, but you can see in 2014, accused 3 had dreadlocks. Another thing that I also picked up and I noticed is at the beginning of the statement where Khumalo is saying that she was standing by the kitchen door. I don't know how many of you guys picked that one up, where she said that she was standing by the door. And then I remembered Miss Popola's testimony to say she was sitting somewhere on the couch where she could see who was coming by the door. She never spoke anything of her mother being close to the kitchen door. I found that strange.
Yes. Guys, just press that like button. Hey, we are pushing. It's difficult. It's hard. It is hard. Even today, I know many people are saying, hey, you are quiet. Today, it's all about, for me, it's all about delivering what happened in court, and we will analyze tomorrow properly. But for now, guys, let's continue.
I'm done.
You're done?
Yeah.
Right. Guys, just press that like button. I don't know, man. Cause I'm so...
Okay, I'm done.
You're done.
I need to check if there's anything extra.
Yeah, so just wanted to say something though. Like, did you see how Mnisi refused to read the whole statement on record?
Oh yes, I noticed that as well.
Many people, when we said this, people said, no, you guys are just exaggerating. Did you see the same or almost similar way of us saying it shouldn't have been the case that Ramusibiri was reading all those statements on record?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because now they were going to introduce something new that would be
through that statement.
Yes.
Yes.
The state was going to introduce something new that would be to their advantage. That's why maybe they insisted that he read it all on record. And he said, I'm not obligated to do that. I mean, the state should have done that, honestly speaking, if they wanted this statement to be on record. They should have been the ones who called Khumalo to come and testify.
Yeah, I did say that. I didn't like that way that Ramusibili
was being made.
And then I was a bad person in saying that. But look how Mnisi is refusing it. This is saying no, angizi. I will just read where I need.
I was very happy when he did that. I was like, actually, why didn't you call Khumalo? Okay, Baloyi. Why didn't you call her if this statement is that important to the state? Why did you not call her? Why?
So these are the things that we are not law students, but slowly we are becoming lawyers. Putting a statement that was given to states, all of it, putting it on record.
All of it on record.
You're opening a can of worms.
And already you can see and sense that Khumalo does not want to, how do I put it in a manner that does not sound rude? But she doesn't want to tell what exactly happened. That's the nicest way I can put it, considering how I feel.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's what you forgot.
Allegedly, but she doesn't want to tell. She still insists that they were intruders. The door already tells you where she stands.
I said that theory of intruders. I do not debunk it.
Mm.
Longa could be an intruder because he was not invited to. So, guys, I know you guys are calling here. Mina ngiyavala bafethu.
Umphakela ukudla, uphakela ama-intruder ukudla.
Yeah.
Bahlale phansi.
Yeah.
Ama-intruder yawaphakela.
Let us see what happens.
Bari siyalalela sijajani, hayi mina ngiyajaja. Siyalalela asijajani. Hayi siyalalela asijajani. Awusingiyekela ukujaja.
Yes. Guys, I'm sorry, man. Today.
Mr. Anonymous is tired today. He'll come back full force tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Nat. Thank you, Sbusiso Ndlovu. Thank you, Chuku. And even though I'm tired, I'm going to do this. Vusutando, thank you. To the tools, thank you. And I hope you get better on that fractured, I think I read something like that, finger or something. I hope you get better. I hope you are fine. Nolukanyo Ngao, thank you. Sizwe 18, thank you. Chico, thank you, and thank you for your gift, Chico. Doka Shabalala, thank you. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you. We miss you when you are not here. Mamzita, thank you. Let's see. Matibako, thank you. Thank you. I'm just laughing at some of these things that are written here. Forgive me. Chuguana, thank you. Laura, thank you. Our member, thank you. David, thank you. Shao, thank you. Pepenyuka, thank you. Fanuel, thank you. Tumi Modise, thank you. BBM, our moderator, Mtokoze Silanga, thank you. We appreciate you guys. Archie Machega, thank you. John, thank you. Moyo, Kenan, thank you. Let's see, who am I missing? Maseko, thank you. Just gonna go as fast as I can. This I will do it, even if I'm distant. Muhadi, thank you. We appreciate you. Busani Sibanda, thank you, our member. We appreciate you. Let's see. Yeah. Takawira, thank you. I hope your name is read correctly. Takawira, thank you. Makos, thank you. Zozo Mahlangu, thank you. Appreciate you. Lungelwa Matela, our member, thank you. Let me see. Yeah, my dad. Yeah, my dad. I surely judge. Siponengu, thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to not leave anyone. Tiboho, thank you. Masemol. Let me see. Mo. Mahamba. Mahamba. Is it Mahaba? Mahaba, right?
Sounds right. Can't see.
It's Mo Mahaba. Mahamba. I remember you.
Is there M in between? Mahamba or is it Mahaba?
Let me do this for you so that you see. Oh, it disappeared. Right. You'll correct me.
Please
if I'm
correct
wrong.
us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
I only see when they're like highlighted, right?
Highlighted, yeah, like members.
Yeah.
Then, Thank you. We appreciate you. Hlanjiwe Sibanda, thank you. Sakiwo Bahlekaz, thank you. Just see, now it's people that are Paul Manjani. Hey, it's been a while. Thank you. We appreciate you. Yes. I think Emily, this is it for me.
Did you call everyone?
Yeah, I tried. Not everyone, maybe. Maybe I might have missed some people. But yeah, I think I touched on everyone.
Okay.
Guys, for today, hey, I'm going to the office. I don't want to sleep there. Next thing, I'm
I see Vale. Guys, will be back tomorrow. Brigadier Gininda is still going to be grilled on that witness box. And yeah, a lot of people are saying that he's getting cornered. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see.
We will see.
We'll see today.
But again, a seasoned lawyer, you see the differences.
Nisi is great.
And also, I mean, I think everyone there is seasoned in a sense. They just need to, I mean, there and there you'll find yourself short.
Yeah.
So you learn. This is the case where you gain experience. Gomez is still going to come. There might be shortfalls somewhere, but also everyone is learning. This is the different, I think no one has ever faced something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is now here, and I hope that everyone learns and gets something from it. Thank you very much, guys. Please like your video on your way out. Make sure that you push it for others also to see it. If you don't press that like button, then that means you do not want others to watch it. Thank you.
So banana kusasa, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.